Sometimes it takes just one person to believe in you, for you to believe in yourself. If you find yourself continuing to say, someday I will take better care of myself, only to continue living the same day over and over and over again, then you, my friend, are in the right place. I am your biggest cheerleader, inspiring you to become you, on purpose and with intention. Are you ready to create a life you love? I'm excited to share with you some big ideas that you can use today to inspire, impact, and influence your life and everyone in it. The Becoming You show starts now. Happy Friday, friends. Happy Friday, friends. We made it. Woo-hoo! It's Friday. I am just getting back from our spring break trip, and it was awesome and a little stressful, right? Rarely is a vacation perfectly awesome. Same is true for life, right? But it is always what you make of it. You see, Puerto Vallarta doesn't have daylight savings time. So when we went to catch our flight at 2:10 and showed up at 12:30 to do so, our boarding had closed. Little did we know that our flight leaving from Mexico actually adhered to the daylight savings time in the States, which meant that we missed the opportunity not only to check our bags, but to board the plane all together. This was a little frazzling. There was debate on whether or not we wanted to stay another night or try to find a way to get home by any means possible, right? Given that we had to get another COVID test and accommodations, we just decided to pursue the get home route. What that meant for my family is that we booked a one-way ticket through Salt Lake City, Utah, connections, customs, and then flew to Minneapolis, and we drove home, getting us home at about 5 a.m. the following morning. Yes, we were a little mad at ourselves for not realizing this. Yes, a little frazzled to scramble and find options last minute, but it all worked out. I truly believe that it worked out exactly as it should have. We were never supposed to have that direct flight to Minneapolis. We weren't. If we were, we would have been on it. I'm not sure why. I don't know if I ever will know. I'm just lucky that I had a pretty go with the flow family that doesn't get too worked up when plans shift, and they do a lot. So that was a little stressful. But this is what was super awesome about the trip. We did our usual trip to the zoo. It's not your normal zoo. You can pet and hold and feed animals. And I'm not talking about farm animals. I'm talking about baby tigers and lions and leopards. We got to feed monkeys and giraffes and hippos and ostriches. We also went to the Predator. Now, I'm sure I'm dating myself, but Predator was a movie in the 80s, and it was filmed actually in Puerto Vallarta. And they made this really pretty cool movie set with zip lining and rock sliding. Now, we went there last time and the boys did the rock sliding, and it was really super cool. You have to hold on to this rope and navigate around the slippery rocks and then climb up like 4 to 5 rock boulders, and then over 5 boulders more into this swirl of freezing water. And this freezing water then swirls and then falls over this massive rock. Essentially, you are sliding down a rock by way of waterfall. Rock sliding, pretty cool. Pretty cool for my teenage boys to do, pretty cool for my husband and I to watch. This time, the boys had met an older gentleman. His name was Barry. We're still unsure of his age, other than to say, I'm sure he was a decade, if not more, older than my husband and I. I know he wanted to go, right? But like Mike and I, we sat as a spectator. Levi, my middle, sensed that he really wanted to go and flagged him over. And between Levi and Logan and Max, they helped this gentleman over, up, and around the waterfall, right? The entire place erupted, cheered, and clapped. I'm sure most were in disbelief, then in awe from his bravery. Do you know what else happened? It gave everyone else permission and the courage to do it as well, including Mike and I. For sure, one of the highlights of my trip. I thanked Barry and told him that if it wasn't for him, I doubt I would have ever have done it, right? One man's bravery allowed for probably at least 10 other people's incredible once in a lifetime experience that day. His movement, right, his ability to believe in himself gave us the belief we needed to believe in ours. Barry was a day maker. I'm thankful for him. I'm also thankful for you. I wanted to thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to me. I appreciate you. I appreciate you showing up for yourself by merely listening to this, wanting to live a better life, wanting to inspire change in yourself, wanting to impact your family, your profession, your community, your churches, wanting to learn more about who it is that you are so that you can show up in a way that honors your amazingness. This work matters. And as you just heard, this work has a ripple effect. When you become more of who it is that you are, you give other permission to believe it is possible for you. I'm not sure that there is more important work to do. So thank you. This is the question that we're going to chat about today. How are you showing up? Clearly, we can all remember times when we didn't show up our best. Maybe we were quick to temper at our kids. Maybe we got defensive and misplaced our feelings on our spouses. Maybe we forgot some healthy habits. Maybe we didn't take responsibility for ourselves. Maybe we didn't follow through on our word. Maybe we didn't plan our priorities. Maybe we didn't show up when somebody needed us. Regardless, 80% of our life is showing up. So I thought it would be a fun conversation around. You in on that? Okay. So when I talk about this idea of showing up, I often put showing up in the A line of the model, which means not only do you have complete control of it, you are responsible for it as well. So many people are not showing up for their life because they feel as though they are at the effect of it, not affecting it. The difference is everything. So I want to share with you just a few ideas as to why it is that we don't show up and how we might want to, and give you a few ideas on this how. Okay, so let's go. The first idea, we think sometimes that how we show up is dependent upon what other people are doing. Like Barry, we show up or don't show up because we compare ourselves to others. We believe somehow that we should be further along, but we forget that success is not rationed out. It's not as though so-and-so has 60% of the success, which means that we could only have 40%. No, the full 100% of ours is for the taking. We also look at others thinking that they're so far ahead in the game. And we forget that at one point, they were exactly where we are. They were not ever immediately greater or more awesome. No, they too showed up, asked more questions, got more mentoring, practiced harder, and did it more consistently over a period of time. That's what's required, friends. Showing up today and tomorrow and every day, demanding just a little bit more of yourself until one day you're as good or at least better than you were. Friends, if we are not showing up on purpose, we are leaving our personal growth and capabilities to chance, to possible misguided paths and the random nature of comfort and ease. Second idea, we don't show up in our life because we think we have to have it all figured out. We have to know the what, the why, the when, and the how of everything, every single detail, every single answer, so we don't feel inadequate, so we don't mess up, so we aren't disappointed, so other people won't judge us, so we won't fail, so we aren't discouraged. We don't show up because we think it has to be perfect, that we have to be perfect. What would need to happen for us to drop this expectation, this one of perfection? A podcast for another day, but I coach a lot of perfectionists, and the tendency is always fear-driven, but interestingly enough, they are not following even what they believe. At the root of perfectionism is to perfect. The only way to perfect is to do something over and over and over again, which means you start, my friends, imperfectly. You start with it not being good, great, or perfect. And you keep showing up, learning, perfect, repeat. Learning, perfect, repeat. What if we were so busy in our life that we did not let ourselves be concerned with what other people say about it? I like to think what other people think about me is none of my business. And if we're not showing up because of what other people might say, then to that I say two things. First, consider people that are ahead of you in the game are not going to judge you. They're not going to put you down with mean messages and critical comments and terrible tweets. People ahead of you are busy. They're busy in their own lives. So let's get busy in ours. For the haters, right? Let them hate, right? If they're hating on your life, they're most likely not living theirs. Now, this isn't an opportunity for us to return the hate, right? Hating the haters makes us hypocritical at best. The opposite, I'm sure, of how we want to show up, I suspect. I think that if we gave people permission, right, to think about us however they wanted, it would allow us to take more chances, take more risks, put ourselves out there in bigger ways, and yes, fail. What could we do if we learned how to fail better? Right? What if failing was the way? What if we showed up knowing that failure was not only a possibility, rather a certain reality? What if we showed up not knowing the answers to the what, when, why, and how of our dreams? Rather, trusted in the nudge, envisioned it into the familiar, and committed to the end of the road versus getting tripped up in the potholes of the path, right? Oh man, what brilliance would show up, right? Third idea, we are not showing up because we don't feel like it, because we are operating from emotions like overwhelm, exhaust, burnout, and apathy. We humans operate from normal. Normal feels normal. I know it sounds super obvious, but it's interesting to understand. We all function day to day in normal. Normal are the 3 or 4 emotions that we operate from. Some operate from fear and worry and anxiety and frustration and resentment. Some operate from gratitude and compassion and confidence and love. Some, a combination of both, negative and positive. Your brain will work hard to bring you back to homeostasis. So I want you to love your normal. A couple of weeks ago, it was a Monday, and I was in a funk, right? I was talking to my husband, and I told him that I was in a funk and how that was such great news. And he looked at me oddly, a very familiar look. I told him it was great news because I don't normally feel this way. I don't normally feel in a funk, which means funk is not my normal. My normal was created super intentionally. I want to operate from emotions like commitment and curiosity and confidence and gratitude and love, all the super awesome emotions, not from angst and anxiety and worry. I find that we show up as our best selves when we, on purpose, align head and heart with our truth. When we generate emotions on purpose with that truth. The truth is, we are amazing, sometimes awesome, imperfect, and messy humans that get to choose our impact every day. That's what's true. Fourth idea, people don't show up because they don't plan it intentionally. Whoever you want to be requires an intentional practice. If you want to be a better mom, you have to first decide what that looks like to you. Maybe it's more quality time with your kiddo. Maybe it's not yelling at them. Maybe it's asking more questions. Maybe it's setting more boundaries. All of these decisions require a plan around when you're going to have that time with your kid. Maybe it's every night at 7. Maybe it's a date night once a month. Maybe it's to and from school. Friends, there's no right or wrong way. There's just an intentional one. It can't be left to the randomness of our days. That is how much life is wasted. Could I tell you how you're showing up if I just looked at your calendar? How are you scheduling your show up? Your workouts are just not going to happen. Your book is not just going to write itself. Your quality time with your kids is not just going to come to fruition. You're not going to become a better leader, right? By wishing you were one. You have to schedule meetings and reviews and read books and get mentoring and listening to podcasts. And I'm also all for spontaneity, and I plan that accordingly. But how I show up and who I want to be needs to be planned on purpose and scheduled if it's not already delegated as a habit. Maybe take a minute and write down how you want to show up in your day. What do you want your morning routine to look like? Do you have one? If we leave it to chance, do you know what it will look like? A lot like every other day. How could you put more intentionality into your morning? Could you journal your goals and your ambitions and your gratitudes? Could you meditate, work out, reflect on who it was that needed you to be extra great today? Before you get out of bed, could you envision your future? Could you see yourself in 1 and 5 and 10 years from now? That is what our showing up daily allows us to chase. What about your end of work routines? How do you close out the day? Do you reprioritize your tomorrow? Do you release any burdens or angst and overwhelm of the day? Careful to not bring it into your evening and onto your family? Do you thank at least one person that helps support you in your day? Speaking of support, I hope you ask for it. I hope you seek it. If you find yourself going at this alone one day after day, right, and find yourself unable to extend appreciation to mentors and your colleagues and your coaches and your friendships and your family, if no one knows what you're up to, if no one knows your path, gosh, this journey will be lonely. There will not be anyone to celebrate with you at the end. So many people, I find, are trying to do this life on their own. Yes, they might be married and have friends and families, but they take it all on their own. Maybe because asking for support might be seen as a weakness. Maybe asking for support might confirm their own not enough bias, as if they should have figured it out already, right? When we shoulder this life pretending to be fine as to not put anyone out, we eventually burn out, and that cost is high, sometimes as much as your life. So please do me a favor. If you're doing this life alone, for whatever reason, first, do not judge yourself. You have a good reason, I promise you. But I want to invite you to tell a friend what you're up to. Share with them your journey. Let them be part of it. If you don't have a mentor or a coach, check me out on my website, www.leahrowling.com. I offer individual coaching as well as group coaching and masterminds. Be a part of a community that's going to support you showing up so you don't have to do it alone. Take it from me, a former stubborn, I don't need help, I can do it all by myself, until literally I couldn't do anything by myself. Seeking support is the way, not only to show up, but to show up stronger and happier and being celebrated and shared along the way. What are your evening routines? Okay, we talked about our morning routines. We talked about our end of the day routines. What are your evening routines? How do you end your day? Again, if left to the random spin of the subconscious, it will no doubt look a lot like all of the evenings preceding it. What simple evening practices, rituals could you inspire your life with? Maybe it's an evening gratitude. Maybe it's a mental rehearsal of what went good that day, what could have gone better. Maybe release all of the day's drama and put them to bed along with yourself. Maybe it's an evening routine with your family. Every day, I like to ask my kids what their word is going to be for that day. So the evening routine then is asking them how they showed up honoring that word. It's such a fun practice and truly more engaging than how was your day or what did you have for lunch? Our words keep us mindful of how we show up. A week or so ago, my kiddos' words were as follows. Logan's was disciplined, Max's was kind, and Levi's was be you. I asked Levi what he meant by be you. He said he was going to work on being him without feeling like he had to be anybody else. I questioned what that meant to him and if he felt pressured to be anybody else. And he said, yes, daily. I assured him that the need to conform was widely popular and much overrated. I told him that I couldn't love his word more, and I wish that I had his wisdom and his insights years ago. As a former people pleaser, I wrote the book on conforming. When I asked him that evening how being him went, he said, I think I crushed it. I said, I bet you did. Nobody does Levi better than Levi. The same is true for you. Nobody does you better than you. So be your youest version of you. No pretending, no conforming, no acting is required. Just stepping in and showing up. The fifth idea. In order to show up how it is that we want to and who it is that we want to, we have to familiarize ourselves with our vision. We have to visualize ourselves showing up in that way. We have to believe in that vision of our wanting more than we believe in the washed up possibilities of the past. We have to allow ourselves to think one day, I will be an author of a New York Times bestseller. I will be the proud owner of a multi-million-dollar company. I will be a high-impact public speaker. I will share the coaching tools that I've learned with hundreds of thousands of people and support them in sharing them with their people. I will tour the world and visit amazing new places and people and be inspired by the berries of the world. We have to let ourselves believe it's possible. We have to take that belief and show up consistently, pulling that vision right closer to our now. So often, though, we don't show up this way because we allow our comparisons, our perfectionistic tendencies, our carefree, random nature dictate our potential. We become blinded to the future possibilities and the reality of just how amazingly awesome we are. And I know I mentioned this to you before, but I think it's worth mentioning again. Who knows of these ambitions? Have you shared them with anyone? Let people be part of that journey. Let people help inspire your grand visions for your life that you are creating. Okay, last idea, sixth idea. If we don't know who we are, what we stand for, what it is that we value, that we align with in this life, how can we show up for it? If you haven't taken the time to map out your thoughts around those questions, find time to do so today. Literally just take out your journal. Who are you, right? I am a loved wife and proud mama of 3 amazing and sometimes naughty boys. And P.S., they should be, right? I have a mini, although not so mini St. Bernadoodle, all love Mac. I'm an Enneagram number 3. I'm guacamole obsessed Leo, who loves her birthday month. Who are my July birthday becomers out there? I'm a thought coach, a strategist, author, public speaker, and unapologetically imperfect. Okay, who are you? What do you stand for? I stand for living in the middle. In the middle is truth and integrity. In the middle is love. In the middle is fulfillment, aliveness, and meaningful connections. In the middle is where who we are meets and is inspired by who we want to be. What do you value? I value faith and freedom and family and fun. What words do you live by? Live, love, laugh, and learn. When you know who you are, you know what to do. You know how to show up. Friends, we get one life. If showing up is 80% of it, I want us to become obsessed with how we are showing up and living it. If you're still listening to this, I honor you. I honor your commitment to bettering your future. And I would love to hear from you. You can connect with me on social, and maybe you share with me there your answers to these questions. Who are you? What do you stand for? What are your words? Or maybe you share yourself on social. Tag me at Leah Rolling. I'll find you. If you are on the fence about revealing yourself, just tell them your coach invited you to this opportunity, this challenge to get to know yourself just a little bit better and afford others the opportunity to get to know you as well. I promise you will inspire them. If you like this episode, would you do me a favor? Would you share it with a few of your favorite people and ask them to do the same? Maybe you like or love or comment. This movement requires our movement, this movement to become more by being more. I truly believe that together, you and me, we can become more and inspire others to do the same. We can change the world one mindset at a time, starting with ourselves. If you want to take what you're learning here on this podcast to the next level, check out our Becoming group online, www.learolling.com/becoming. This community needs you. Thanks for being with me today, everybody. Have an amazing weekend. I will see you next Friday, 11 Central. See you soon. Bye. You have been listening to the Becoming You show with me, your host, Leah Rolling, where I share big ideas to inspire, impact, and influence your life. Tune in every Friday at 11 Central on transformationtalkradio.com for your morning cup of coffee, the hug you never want to end, and that inspirational message that you felt was written just for you. Each show is inspiring you to become you with purpose and intention. For more information or to connect with me, visit www.leahrolling.com.